sisters, and I'm so excited. We are on week 10 of our studies together, of our messages. And it's kind of a milestone, I would say. You know, if you persevered, if you went with me through these studies for these weeks, I guess it's a little victory for us. And I hope you learned a lot. And in my next study, I'm actually going to give you a summary of everything that we learned. But today, what I wanted to talk about is obviously connected to our previous talk is, you know, have you actually pondered and considered the answers to your prayers that you have been praying for your husband? You know, last week, as you remember, we put together a detailed list of different, you know, needs in your husband's life, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial, relational, that, you know, we obviously want to cover in prayer. But there's no use in praying without acknowledging, you know, and giving glory and all with the most grateful heart possible to the Lord for the answers, how big or small they might be. And obviously, you know, as I think it is a good idea to have things organized and have them before our eyes, although, you know, all the forms, all the things that I'm presenting before you, I don't want you to get, you know, into some kind of religious mold, you know, that your box prayers and things like that. No. All the forms that I'm presenting before you, it's just for you to be more organized. And even the next form that I wanted you to have, which obviously, just like I mentioned previously, you can ask me and I will send you the forms. Just send me an email at crytogod@msn.com. And this form is Chapter 1, Prayer List 1, Answers to Prayers. I hope you can see it. You know, I think, and I hope you will agree, it is extremely, extremely important for us to ponder and to be grateful and give all glory and honor to the Lord for answers. Not just pray and be like an ungrateful child. You know, a parent gives something to a child and the child doesn't even say thank you. It breaks a parent's heart. You know, one of the most hurtful things for a parent is to have an ungrateful child. The same with the Lord. He's our Father. He wants us to be grateful children and acknowledge that every good and perfect gift comes from the Father of lights. So let us acknowledge, let us make a list, let us put this monument, erect a monument unto the Lord of His goodness, of the things that He has done. So please put that list together and start writing down, thinking, pondering, how did the Lord answer? Let me actually pray through this list, through each specific thing, and bring glory to the Lord. Say, thank you, Lord, that you have answered my prayer in regards to my husband's health and that he's been feeling better, or he forgets to take medicine that now he remembers. Thank you, Lord, and just acknowledge, be a grateful daughter. So that's one thing that I wanted to mention. The second thing that I'm going to go into is our main subject of our talk for today. I don't even like them calling it studies, because you know that what we're going to do, these are not Bible studies or specifically biblical studies. This is just me imparting my life and what the Lord is doing in my life unto your life. Just pouring out whatever little tinky-binky little wisdom that I might have into your life. And I think my main goal, one of the main goals, you know, for me presenting these talks before you is to encourage you. I know and I have experienced the power of encouragement in my life, and I also experienced the lack of encouragement in my life from, you know, older women or sisters. So I want to pump you up. I want to encourage you to keep praying for your husband, to be importunate widows and knocking and asking and seeking. So what we are going to talk about today is one more form I'm going to present before you. And in this, what I'm going to talk about is that it is extremely important, not only obviously to cover our husbands in prayer in general, just, you know, every sphere of their lives, but obviously, you know, on daily basis. thing we cover in prayer, the things that your husband goes through on daily basis. If he has work, or maybe he's out of work, or maybe he has some, things that are just what he's going through today. Like for example, right now, I know exactly where my husband is. He's not home, but where he's going, what he's doing, that he will have an estimate that I'm going to cover in prayer, already did actually. So things like that. So it's a very simple, basic form, nothing fancy about it. And the form is just days of the week where you're going to ask your husband, on daily basis, probably at dinner in the evening, on when you talk, and that will actually also, one of the benefits of doing this is it will keep opening up the conversation with your husband. You will go deeper into his life to understand what he's going through on daily basis. And believe me, if he works outside of home, it's a lot of difficult stuff. Even sometimes just for, fun of it, I guess, or I'll just go on a little ride with my husband throughout his day, just to observe, his work and what he does. And at the end of the day, my head is spinning. The things that he does, the places that he goes, the things that he has to touch, and people that he has to touch in his life. And it's overwhelming, the stuff that our husbands go through. And just as one sister mentioned, our livelihoods depend on the Lord's favor being and resting upon our husbands, at their workplaces. So let us cover those things in prayer. So it's very simple. Here is a list: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and every evening ask. Don't really dig too deep, if your husband is definitely very tired at the end of the day. But say, honey, what would you like me to pray for you tomorrow? Is there some kind of specific thing you would like me to, cover in prayer for you tomorrow? And he will share, and you will cover those things in prayer. One more list, just 1 second. Let me show you my little example list for this form. Like, for example, on Monday, you know that your husband will have a business meeting at 5 p.m. So cover it in prayer that it will go smooth, that the Lord will, give your husband favor in the sight of the participants of that meeting, or whatever that may be. Or you know that your husband is not feeling good. Like my husband, he's a roofing contractor, so he's always, unfortunately, in pain. So I have to cover, and it changes from day to day. On Monday it will be his shoulder, on Tuesday it will be his knee, on Wednesday it will be his elbow, So, and I cover those things in prayer. I know exactly where he's hurting on that particular day. And so on Monday, like for example, I'll know that he has my husband would have a very, very heavy workload. Like sometimes he says, I'm just running as a chicken with my head chopped off, something like that. So I cover that in prayer. Or on Tuesday, starting a new project at work, or he needs patience with co-workers. That is an incredible thing to cover in prayer. Or some anxiety, some uneasiness he might have, on insecurities on that particular day, maybe some kind of meeting or a person that he will have to encounter. Just cover those things in prayer and communicate with your husband. Ask him, honey, is there something specific you would like me to cover in prayer on that particular day? So all these forms, they're super easy to put together, and it is like, once again, let me mention it once again to reconfirm it. So we are doing this just to be more organized. And another thing, by the way, what helps me when I have a specific prayer book or specific prayer form is when I pray and my mind starts wandering, because I usually pray in front of this beautiful window where I have a beautiful view of hills and trees and things like that. And it just sometimes I'll just see this beautiful group of birds, and here am I thinking about birds instead of praying for my husband. And then when I finally wake up, from that little distraction, the list keeps me on track. I go to my list and I remember exactly where I, left off and take from there again and persevere and cover my whole husband's life daily life and his needs in prayer. So that's an advantage of having a book, one of the advantages. And it just keeps you to be more organized and not just wander in your thoughts. So what shall I pray about? Where shall I go from here? It's already there. Let me mention something very important. And I mentioned that before, but repetition is the mother of knowledge. Our husbands experience the Lord when we bless them and pray for them, when the Lord blesses them in their daily walk. And the Lord, so basically, like for example, my husband, when he has a difficult day at work and he knows that I am praying for him, and then things kind of clear up and starts running smoother, he acknowledges the Lord in it. He says, Lord, thank you that you worked it all out. And we are the agents that actually through our prayer cause that thanksgiving in our husbands, because they see things change, they see things start running smoother, they will acknowledge the Lord and give glory to the Lord. And just like I said, our husbands will start acknowledging the hand of the Lord in their lives more and more and more, and that's all through our prayers. The Lord releases his good will towards our husbands when we pray for them. And that's what my husband always says. Honey, when you pray for them, things run smoother, things run better. The favor of the Lord is upon me, and the Lord gives him more favor with his customers at work. The Lord opens the doors more in his work or whatever. The Lord gives him deeper revelations when he, seeks him every morning. He acknowledges the difference, and he acknowledges the Lord's work in his life because I pray. So do not be discouraged. Continue to pray and continue to acknowledge the answers, and to be grateful for the Lord for what he does in our lives. See you next week. God bless.